Hey gamers, so this is the second video to the Destiny DLC Rise of Iron. If you haven't already seen the first one, I will leave the link in the description below. So in this video I'm going to be talking more so about the actual poster and what I think, by looking at the poster, what I think the DLC is hopefully about, and also the raid. So the first thing that we see when we look at this poster, besides the title, is probably Lord Saladin. We can clearly see that he's holding some sort of axe. I'm guessing that's the weapon that he used to defend the last city. So this axe that we can see, it does make us question whether we'll be able to use it as Guardians, or is it just something that personalizes Lord Saladin a bit more. And if so, if we can obtain this axe, will it be the same as how we obtained the sword in the Taken King DLC? Which is basically via story missions. I do also wonder if we are able to use this axe, will it be as a heavy weapon, or will it just be specifically in the raid, just like the relic in Vault of Glass and the sword in Crota's End? I did touch a little bit on the Iron Wolves in my first video, but there's not much to talk about because, well, there's not much out there for anyone to really research, and Destiny hasn't really talked about them at all throughout the game, only hints there and then with the Iron Banner. But it does make me wonder if it's actually linked to the House of Wolves, like the actual Fallen, not the DLC, the actual house, because of the fact, well, they both have wolves in their names. And also just the fact that this raid and DLC was meant to be within the House of Wolves DLC. So this next bit I'm really excited to talk about because it's actually the main reason why I wanted to do a second video. If you actually look closely, if you look at the poster, I sort of tried working out as much as I could about this DLC, and I sort of noticed a few things. First of all, I noticed the background, which contains snow, so it straight away tells us, in my opinion, that it's on Earth, this DLC. Also, you can see there's 3 wolves. I'm not sure if that's to do with the Iron Wolves or the House of Wolves, or maybe even both. Raid, I'd also like to add, we haven't actually had a proper raid with the Fallen yet. We have had the PoE, but that's technically not a raid, so this is basically, yeah, the Fallen raid. And also I think it will be on Earth because the fact that we haven't had a raid on Earth yet. So when I was actually researching this DLC and the poster, I did come across a picture that was of the building that's actually in Old Russia. I do have proof. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I will show you it right now. If you look at the poster in the top left, you can faintly see the POSA symbol, which is found in Earth on Russia. It's actually Russian. If you see this picture now, you can actually see there's quite a bit of a resemblance. So first of all, the POSA symbol, and then also you can see the green sort of lines that are going downwards from the middle of the poster. That's in this picture. And also the top of the building, you can see, I think there's sort of like panels or windows. You can see those in the poster also, and you can see a bit of the top, a bit of just under the roof. I'm not sure what the hell you want to call that, like metal pieces or something. I was actually just looking, because I saw that POSA symbol, I typed that into Google, and this picture came up, and so I was like, wow, okay, it's basically the background for this poster, so I had to show you guys because I think that's pretty cool. The only difference in this picture compared to the poster is that there's a giant hole behind Lord Saladin, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure, does that mean that there's some sort of war going on, or is that perhaps the entrance to the raid? You guys tell me what you think of this massive hole and what you think it means. Also, I would like to talk about why I think Lord Saladin is on this poster and why it's relevant. I did touch on this a bit in my first video, but going back to that video, what I said about why the Iron Banner was actually made, it was made to prepare Guardians for battle, and I think that has paid off, and I think that is what this DLC is going to be about, is actually putting that and using what we've learnt from Iron Banner and using it in the raid. Also, another reason that sort of links in with what I just said, but Lord Saladin basically has said, I think in the Grimoire cards, I'm not too sure where I found this information, but he basically said that also the reason why he has Iron Banner is to prevent what has happened in the past, so i.e. the Battle of the Twilight Gap. If we have all Guardians prepared for a battle, then, well, we're less likely to lose. So while I was doing research, I was looking up a lot of the Grimoire cards, and because of this DLC / raid was meant for the House of Wolves, I was looking through the House of Wolves cards, and I was looking at Skolas's, and his card had a fair amount of information compared to a lot of the other ones. Throughout the whole thing, it was basically talking about Earth, although the PoE is based on the Reef. My guess is, I'm not too sure, I'm just guessing here, but because this raid was meant for the House of Wolves, I think that Bungie put in the PoE and sort of, instead of basing the House of Wolves DLC on Earth, they sort of switched it and made it based in the Reef, but I think it was meant to be based on Earth originally. I also think that this will be on Earth, because in the Grimoire cards it does talk about Skolas and the House of Wolves actually attacking Earth mostly. It doesn't really talk about the Reef that much, to be honest. In my opinion, it does point a lot to Earth, so, you know, it doesn't really point to any of the other planets that much. So if it's not on Earth, if any of the DLC isn't on Earth or the raid's not on Earth, I'll be very surprised. So a lot of people have been saying that, oh, why aren't we getting a Cabal raid? I thought this next thing was going to be a Cabal-based DLC. I was thinking the exact same thing, because I'm pretty sure that's what we were told when Destiny came out, when they hinted on the all the DLCs that were meant to come out, because everyone was complaining there's not much content. But I do think because this was meant for the House of Wolves, that they're sort of just touching on that again and bringing out what they were meant to bring out first. And I reckon hopefully we'll get a Cabal-based raid and DLC after this DLC comes out and before Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is still set to be coming out in 2017, so we still have time for another DLC. Who knows? If this one's coming out in September though, it is a bit, I don't know, a bit unlikely. I don't know, it depends when Destiny 2 comes out, like when in 2017. If it's like, you know, mid to late 2017, then maybe we'll get a Cabal DLC in maybe March or so. That's basically mostly what I wanted to talk about. I have put together a list of questions if I was to ask Bungie about this DLC, what I would actually ask them. I'm guessing you guys will probably have similar questions also. If you don't though, please comment below any questions that you have, or any theories even that you have about this DLC. I'd love to hear them. So I'm just going to get straight into the questions now. Will this DLC affect Iron Banner / Crucible, i.e. new maps in the Crucible / Iron Banner? Maybe new game types even, you know, sort of expanding the Iron Banner. Will we get more cool cutscenes like we did, I think it was in the Taken King. That was based on in the tower with Eris and all the Vanguard commanders. If we do though, I'm guessing it'll be between Lord Saladin, Lord Shaxx and Commander Zavala, seeing as they're supposedly going to be in this DLC and, you know, focusing on them mostly. Will any of the original storyline that was meant to come out in Destiny be risen in this DLC. A really good question is, will we actually have to pay for the DLC, or is it free? I'm guessing the answer would depend mostly on how much content is in this. Will we get new weapons / gear for the Iron Banner? I'm guessing we will, seeing as, you know, every so often they do change and Bungie does update the gear and the weapons. I'm presuming if we do get a raid that there will be new gear and new weapons, because, well, there always is. I'm saying this also, will our max light level be risen? So that's all the questions I've come up with, and like I said, if you guys have any, then yeah, feel free to comment below. Hopefully we'll know more about this DLC and if it's true or not at E3. If that is the case, E3 is on June 13th, so if you aren't able to go or able to watch it, then I will be keeping you guys up to date on any information that's given out, so make sure you do subscribe. If you've liked this video, if it was helpful, or if you found it interesting, please give it a like, and yeah, if you have any questions, just leave a comment.